Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Al,
My name is Cody.
and we're here today to talk about cottage core games. Oh, woo.
Oh, woo. I don't know if you heard the dogs barking.
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
Do you know? It's funny, Cody. So, this episode we're talking about the farmer was replaced, which is about
hmm
automating a farm,
hmm
and we were talking about AI before the episode recording.
We sure were.
It's just a funny. That was not where my brain was. My brain wasn't AI because of this. It was just
Right.
an interesting thing.
My
Um,
brain, I forgot we were recording today. I thought we were recording. Actually, I don't even know what I thought we were. I think I knew that we were recording today. My brain, it just, that information had not entered my brain.
mm.
Um,
So when you
but
got my
until I,
message, you were like, recording today.
well, no, so I had gotten like a notification before that was like, hey,
Ah,
you're gonna be recording in an hour. And I was like, oh. And then
is the problem that we've gone quite a few weeks without it, and then we're doing 2 weeks in a row. So you were thinking about next week.
well, so I think it was just that because yeah, I've been out of it for a bit. Like I've been
Mhm.
focused on other things. My best friend just visited, blah blah blah. Um, and I'm kind of just now rejoining the world of day to day, like things happen
Mhm.
and are scheduled. But also I thought we were doing a different game today, so I forgot that we even played this game.
You did play it though.
I did.
Good.
So yeah, that's fine.
Whoopsie. We're doing the other
That's
game
fine.
next week.
Yeah, correct.
All right.
I do.
Woo.
Yeah. So we're talking about the farmers place today. Very excited about that.
Great. We're gonna talk about that. We got a bunch of game news. Before that, Cody, what have you been up to?
I have been chilling. Like I just mentioned, my best friend was visiting, so that was really nice. She's my best friend from Oregon. We've been friends for like over a decade now. It's nuts. And she flew in to my area and we just like went on a bunch of adventures. And she and I bond a lot over books. So we went to a lot of bookstores and I now have a lot of books.
Mm.
I mean, I always have a lot of books. My to be read pile is like huge, but I now have like more that I want to read. So I've been reading more, which is lovely. I've been trying to scroll less on my phone, finding myself in the doom cycle. I was just listening
Mm.
to a podcast today and someone just referred to doing phone.
Mm.
Like, because sometimes you'll just pick up your phone and do phone for like half hour and then you're like, what was I just doing? Like,
Mhm.
where did that half hour go?
Mhm.
So I'm trying to do that less, which is nice. And that has included reading, but also some games. So I'm still playing House Flipper 2 with my best friend Devin. Slay the Spire 2 with my roommate and my husband. And then I picked up Outbound, which came out this week, which is the van life game. And I am enjoying it. That is what I will say.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been up to. What about you, Al?
Well, I've also been playing Outbound. Picked that up this week.
Fun.
Coincidence or not, maybe you'll find out next week. Uh, um, Obviously, I've also been playing The Farmer Was Replaced, and we'll have a lot to
Mhm.
talk about that later on. And I have finished Little Rocket Lab. So
How
that
how
was
was
good.
that?
Did you listen to last week's episode?
I did not, but I saw something on the Slack, and I didn't know if you were gonna
It was good.
mention that you really liked it and
Yeah,
might
it
have
was,
been
it was good.
emotional.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I think I don't know whether I explicitly said it or not, but I did certainly uh um imply that there were some emotions
Yeah.
through the game, and yeah, there was another point when I was playing through that got me and made
hmm
me feel some emotions as I was playing that game. It's
Where
really
do
good.
where do you put those emotions on a Spiritfarer scale?
It's not as rip your heart out
Okay.
as the Spiritfarer, but like it's still related to death in a way, but not the same
Okay.
sort of thing, right? Like,
hmm
um, there's I don't know if anything will get as close as I don't know if anything will ever hit the peak of like taking your dementia riddled friend to the death gate and
Yeah.
seeing her reawaken just as she
Yeah.
goes through. I don't think
Yeah.
anything will ever get
Yeah.
quite as emotional as that. Uh, but
That, yeah.
It was certainly it was pretty high.
Okay.
I it stuck the landing. I'll put
Okay.
it that way.
That's
It was
good.
really good. It was done really well. Um, the story is really nicely spread throughout the game,
Hmm.
and I thought it was really well done. The gameplay kind of just continues to be the same and enjoyable. And by the time it was finished, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm content.
Nice.
I'm
That's
good
good.
to finish this and let it go. There wasn't really any post game, mainly because I'd done all of the things as I was going on, so there wasn't
Hmm.
really anything to do. But I'm okay with that because I got my what 15 hours out of it, and it was an
Hmm.
enjoyable experience, and I'm done now.
Yay.
I
That's
could
good.
see how some people would just like put so much time into trying to make the most efficient system, making all of the items all at the same time or something like that, though. But
Yeah.
um, not me. I
Yeah.
have other games to
No.
play because we're talking about The Farmer was replaced this week and another game next
Hmm.
week. So
Hmm. Hmm.
can't be doing all the same things.
Yeah.
Uh yeah. Okay, cool. Should we talk about some news?
Yeah.
First up, you can tell that Cody has not really been aware of the show notes until an hour ago because there's no comments here.
They're not riddled with purple texted comments. No, I will I did look through them, but I will uh in real time respond.
That's kind of how a podcast works. But
No, I normally I like to prepare. It's the autistic part of me that doesn't want an like rehearsed social situation.
Mm.
So, but no, I'm just feeling more like relaxed these days, so it's fine because defense and having that like off of my back. So,
Woo.
woo.
Bitter Harvest releases on the 22nd of May. That is on Friday. So this is the like there's a murderer, I think. Oh no, this is
What?
not it's not the murderer. This is the one
No,
where
it's
you're
not.
shut up. Like it's called Bitter Harvest. It does sound like that one. There's a few of them that have been like that. No, this is
Hmm.
the one with moral conundrums and you can like scheme your way through the game.
Hmm. Yeah, that basically farming life sim about ambition, reinvention, and quiet revenge. And that
Oh yes, that's what it was. The revenge one.
you
Yes.
basically come up to your place. There was like a farm that you were promised, and you get there, and someone else is working the farm. And the I love the picture of it because it shows someone farming, and then there's a character in the foreground that's holding garbage bags in like
Mm.
fists, and they're just like clearly grumpy. Because it says that uh, the first job that you take up is the town's garbage collector,
Mm.
piecing together a new life from what others throw away. Um, I so a word from I'm just going to read this because I love this. A word from the developer. Bitter Harvest started as a game about starting over from nothing, but it quickly became about power, resentment, and what people are willing to justify when they feel wronged. I wanted the game to feel calm on the surface, but slowly revealing the consequences of the player's choices as they climb higher. I'm in. I love games like this that like make you feel a thing. Um, I'm trying to figure out, is it only Steam?
I think so, yeah.
Ugh. Okay. But yeah, it's coming out on Steam, Steam on the 22nd.
Don't you have your Steam
And
Deck
it's
yet?
so Jeff got one and I could probably use his and play it.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like you have a Steam Deck then.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll probably make him get it for me. Um, and then he'll have to share his Steam Deck with me and he can cry me a river. Married life. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Choose whether to rise honestly, manipulate others, or something in between. How do you feel about this game? Because I feel like you've been wanting to break people up in games for a really, really long
Yeah,
time.
I think it depends on where it goes, how far it goes.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm certainly intrigued because it
Hmm.
takes the like standard background to a farming game and goes, oh wait, no. And that in and of itself is an interesting thing because that's such a rare thing in farming games where it's not just like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a farm, you can use it. So, I I'm very interested. I don't know. I haven't planned out the next few weeks in terms of
Hmm.
my gaming time because I'm coming into a complicated time.
Hmm.
So I don't know when I'll be able to play it, but I think I would like to play it. So I guess we'll
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
We'll see how May and June look. May's nearly over.
I don't like that.
Odd Fauna, Secret of the Terror Beast, have announced that their early access comes out on the 2nd of June. They've said they've shifted their launch date to the 2nd of June. I don't remember them announcing a previous release date,
Hmm.
which would
Yeah, I
apparently
don't.
going back in their news. Ah, here we go. The 13th of May was apparently when it was meant to come out. So they've pushed it back a few weeks.
That's fine. Um, I really like how this game looks, and I
Mm.
love the angry snail.
Yes, I agree.
Um, he's just so grumpy, and I love it. Um, yeah, it's a cute game. Very interesting, very unique art style for sure. It's giving Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, kind of fabricy type world.
Yes. Oh, you're on the back of something. Your world is on the
Yeah, the
back
Terror
of
Beast.
something. You're so right. That's what it's called.
Come on, Cody. Lock
Uh,
in.
you're right. You're right. You're right. Um, yeah, early access. I'm, this is something we could maybe talk about at another time, but I'm getting really bitter about early access.
I feel like it's something we've talked about many a time.
I think I've finally hit a point because like I think I've talked to y'all about how you guys feel about early access, but I'm
Yeah.
hitting a point where I myself am also like, this is stupid.
Yeah,
So,
I, yeah. It's difficult because it's not like I understand the positives of it, but it also, as with everything, just ends up the scale just
hmm.
can always end up in a ridiculous degree, right?
Yeah.
That's always the problem.
Yeah. But looking forward to hearing more about this game.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo. Next up, Snacktorio. So this is the Factorio-esque game from L, the developer of Apico. That was
And
like the game.
and Mudborn.
And Mudborn, yeah.
Um,
Which maybe someone will talk about in the podcast sometime. I don't know.
yeah, that'd be cool. Um, I hadn't really like looked at this in a while, but I love how this looks. And then the official release date trailer that Elle put together is hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't actually say the news,
Um,
did I? I just said Snacktorio, which is the game. Yeah, it comes out on the 4th of June. There you go. There's the news. Continue.
yeah. It's also available on Apple, which I'm super excited about. Because I will get it. But in the trailer, it's basically like showing the game. It's got like Terraria style like world
Mm,
exploration. Like
yes.
it's a side-scrolling like thing like Terraria instead of being like a top-down, it's like a side. But
Side side.
side,
I know
but
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
it's not top-down, it's side.
Sidey widey.
It's crab game. Crab style. And
Everything's
but it's like
crabs.
shows
Even games,
just
apparently.
everything gets come back to crabs. You basically like are building like you grow food and then you cook the food and it's just like all quiet and quaint and then it just says feed and it like gets really like ominous and then it's just like grow cook or I guess it says build cook feed and it's basically all about like having to feed these beasts that honestly, some of them kind of look like eldritch horrors. I don't know exactly, or
Yeah.
if we'll get more detail about them, but very
You,
cute.
I mean, you might get more if
Um,
you play the game, maybe.
I will get more when I play the game, not might and if, like will and when. Yeah, super excited about that. Looks cute. Highly recommend checking out the trailer and the updated demo.
All right. Oh, all right. Harvest Moon, Echoes of Terradia
Hmm.
have announced that they're releasing on the 24th of September. And the full list of platforms we now have as well, which is Steam, Switch 1 and 2, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. The Switch physical Switch cartridge is one of the Switch 2 editions, which comes with the Switch 1 version and the upgrade. So you
Hmm.
can buy the same game and it works on both, which I do like.
Hmm. I'm glad. So when I looked at the article, because it's all about Nintendo and how it's coming to Switch 2, um, and how it's going to be the first Harvest Moon game on the Switch 2, that's like for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's also on Xbox. So I'm kind of excited now because this game looks interesting. It's giving like because it's open world exploration, it kind
Mhm.
of looks like this is something I might want to play. Is that a clouded leopard? Wait a minute. That is a leopard. Okay. In this game. I need more answers.
Yeah. So
But Mhm.
I I worry that this is more like Winds of Anthos, which is the game I wasn't a huge fan of, rather than Home
Yeah.
Sweet Home, which was the game I much preferred.
Hmm.
But I mean, obviously, I'm gonna buy it and play it, and we'll see what it is. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Depending on if it's on Game Pass, I might play it as well.
Mm.
September is kind of far out there. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in September. So
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'll be doing next month. So we shall see.
I haven't seen anything about it being on Game Pass, but that doesn't mean it won't in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I am also in a better financial situation now, so I could just buy it if I wanted, but I don't know. We will find out. To be determined.
It looks like none of the Harvest Moon games are on Game Pass, so I'm
Mm-mm.
guessing probably not.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Next up, Cosmic Coop have released their museum update. Can you guess what's in this update?
I think it is a chicken factory that
Correct,
turns
a
chicken.
museum. You can now visit to the museum. You can now visit the museum and start filling it with collectibles. There are currently 73 collectibles to donate and complete. There you go.
I would love to know. Oh, the developer also asks, would you like me to add an achievement for donating the collectibles to the museum? That is a silly question. The answer is yes. Um, and I would like to see what kind of stuff, like an example of what could go into this.
Well, I see a dinosaur skull, so I'm
Hmm.
guessing there's fossils, and I see more fossils. I don't know.
Hmm.
It does look like it's mostly kind of like fossils from what I see on the front of it. Like
Hmm.
I'm not seeing any live animals, which is different from many, but an interesting, a good
Yeah.
difference.
Well, I guess museums, now that I'm thinking about it, museums don't usually have an aquarium and an
Yeah.
insectarium attached to them. It's going to be like
Well,
specimens.
Well,
But
so here's an interesting thing. I found out recently that the National Museum of Scotland used to have massive fish tanks in its entrance area. It does not anymore, but in the
Mhm.
90s, it had these massive fish tanks with carp,
Mm,
of all things.
that would be cool. I recently went to the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh, and one of my friends works there in the invertebrate zoology division, and I got to go back, and then I found out not only does she work there, she curates it, which I was like, oh, I didn't realize. And she gave us like a tour of the back, and it was really cool. We got to see the first succession log, and the first thing that was ever donated there in like the late 1700s or whatever were two Egyptian mummies by Andrew Carnegie himself. And then like three or four lines later, it was like Miss Estelle from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, donated a salamander. And it was really cute
Hmm.
to like just see, like, I don't know, because I've never really thought of like individuals like a normal citizen like donating to the museum. Like, would you donate something to your local museum?
I don't think I would have anything of interest personally.
But like, how do you know it's not of
That's
interest?
a
Like,
good
what if you were
question.
so like what if you were to find a really cool like rock or bug or something, and if you don't know, I don't, so that's the thing. I think a lot of people are really detached from these things,
Yeah.
and you can just be like, this is neat. Do we have one of these?
I guess the problem is right. Like we are now living in a time where people have been finding and putting things in museums for hundreds of years now.
Hmm.
And I feel like there was a time where it was like if you found something, it was probably new, right? Because people
Hmm.
weren't really looking for things at that point. And then so
Hmm.
people started looking for things and were like, hey, this seems cool. People are like, yeah, that's cool. But like if I go outside and I find a rock, it's probably
Yeah.
a rock people already know about.
I will tell you, not always the case with bugs. So I feel like there's this sense of wonder that people had about like discovery and how you could just pick something up in your backyard and it could be something that has not been recorded before.
Yeah.
That is likely true for insects or for insect interactions. So if you go outside and see like a leaf mine or a gall or something, that might be something that is novel to science. So
Mm.
recapture that wonder, you guys. Anyway, all of this to say, Cosmic Coop should have more than just fossils because history and interesting things exist in the real, not just in the past.
Yeah. Hello Kitty Island Adventure have announced their Under the Sea celebration is now live,
Yeah, you go under the water.
as you do, which you could already do. But I
Oh,
guess now you're
could you
fishing
be
for
a
treasures.
mermaid?
I don't know that. I never finished the game, but I knew
Mm,
I did get to the point where you could dive underwater, but I don't
mm.
know if you could actively be a mermaid.
So I'm seeing Hello Kitty has a mermaid tail here.
It does say new mermaid outfits, which inspiration for new mermaid outfits, which implies there were previous mermaid outfits.
Mm. But were they functional? I don't know.
What is a
Uh,
functional mermaid outfit?
well, so like, is it just like a fun mermaid tail like fabric thing, or is it actually like something that you could use that could function as a mermaid's tail? Like, have you seen those people that pretend to be mermaids that like,
You mean, does it change how you navigate underwater?
well, no, because some of them are just like if it's just like cotton, but like if you knit one, it would look cute. Like you would look like a mermaid, but you would not be able to do mermaid things, right? Like it's just fabric that's going to weigh you down and probably kill you. But some people have made these like tails that are actually functional that you can actually like use your legs and it propels you.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's what I mean. So like if are you asking, does the memory tail change how you swim?
in the game, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. Good question.
Okay. Let us know, listeners.
I can't even remember. It's possible that you can only dive with a mermaid tail. I can't remember. I don't think that was the case,
hmm
but it's been several years since I played it, so I cannot remember. It's like how, in Animal Crossing you had to put on the wetsuit to dive.
Yeah.
It's possible that you needed to put on a mermaid.
Which I thought was silly, but then after having been in the ocean multiple times, wetsuit preferred, you guys.
I think it
That
depends probably on where you are in the world.
well, but like it's also just like this the the salt water feels weird. It makes it feel weird, you
That's the
know?
autism again.
Yeah. I saw a barracuda though. That was cool. When I
Ooh,
went sky
scary.
whatever, that's snorkeling in
They're
Florida.
scary.
I mean, it's pretty tiny. They're a lot smaller than you'd think, or at least the ones that I saw were smaller than like they wouldn't come after us. They would just be coming after like
Oh,
fish.
I thought
But
parakeets were scary.
I mean, if you're a
I've never
fish,
seen one.
yes. It
Um,
probably was only like I'm trying to convert to metric in my mind, like half a meter. No, less than that, like a third of a
oh
meter,
goodness. Ooh, okay.
and it wasn't that thick.
Big teeth.
Big, many teeth, many sharp teeth, but again, not gonna attack us. No
Okay.
point.
Fair enough. I had just heard stuff about barracudas being scary. That was all. If that
They are
is
definitely scary. They are some of the best. They're very effective as hunters, but I guess it's just like being. Well, no, I was gonna say it's like snorkeling and having a shark near you. Like you're not really
yeah,
that scared of
that's
it,
no,
but I think
well,
people are genuinely scared.
yeah, I think that's a bad example.
Because I was just like, oh, that's cool. Look at the barracuda. And I was trying to get like Jeff to come look at it, but what if it
Like
was
walking through the
something?
forest and seeing someone with a knife, you're not going to be scared there because they're not going to kill you probably.
No, they're just trying to cut a rope off of a tree or something. They're
I'm
just
still
trying
going to be
to
scared.
live.
I'm still going to be scared. I'm scared walking through the forest when there's no one there in the
No,
dark.
I love walking through the forest when there's no one there. It's great.
Not in the dark. In the light, yes, but not in the
I've
dark.
done it in the dark before. It's fine.
I mean, I've done it in the dark as well, and I've not died yet, but that doesn't mean it's not scary.
Do you guys have like anything that could hurt you on your island?
People.
Okay.
So I believe there is one poisonous snake, venomous snake.
Then
Sorry,
thank you. Venomous.
I got there before you corrected me.
Yeah, you did. You did. Props to you.
Let me just double check.
But like how venomous? Like is
Not
it
not very. It's a viper.
vipers can be some pretty venomous
It's not
much
the sort of.
venom.
It's not bad enough that like I have ever heard of anybody ever anything. Like even
Okay.
it's like I have seen one in real
hmm
life
hmm
slithering very, very fast through the grass.
They would do that, yeah.
But like I have never heard of anybody even like, not even being close to being bitten by one. Like they
I mean,
seem to be get far away from humans as quickly
that's
as
true of
possible.
most snakes. Like I think when
Right.
I'm hiking and there's like rattlesnakes and people are really scared, I'm like, they don't care about you, dude. Like just keep going. They rattle to let you know they're there so you can be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am." Like
Yeah.
go on with your day.
Yeah, honestly, if every dangerous animal made a noise to tell you they're there, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yes, please.
I think one exception is the fer-de-lance. When I was in Costa Rica, they are known to like chase people.
Oh,
But the one that I almost stepped
goodness.
on was just napping. She was a good girl.
Oh, okay.
If you
So
want
yeah, I
photos here,
think
I'll
I
post photos of the fer-de-lance I almost stepped on. And that's what you should look for in the Slack this week, you guys.
I think probably the viper is the most the wildlife in Scotland that would is the only one that would be of any chance of hurting
Okay.
you realistically. I mean, you've
You'll
got
be
like wildcats and stuff like that, but
yeah.
they're they're not big.
Okay.
I could punch one.
Yeah.
Although there's discussion about reintroducing wolves, so there's that as well.
Hmm.
That's a
I
whole
have
other
thoughts about
discussion.
that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much we want to go deep in these weeds. We haven't talked about critter crops yet. Don't
Critter
skip.
Crops have announced that they're rewriting the whole game.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically it. It's a very long post about how disappointed they are in the version they released and blah, 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 blah. And they have learned a lot and are going to redo it all from scratch, basically. And that will happen before the Switch version releases.
hmm What are your thoughts on that?
Which bit? The rewriting it or?
Yeah, like how do you feel like that is effective?
Well, so I can't comment on the specifics, right? Because I don't know what the code looks like behind the scenes. I think it is up to individual developers and teams as to whether they think that their code is too far gone, which does
hmm
happen sometimes, right? Like I have been on projects where you're completely rewriting something from scratch because to get it to a decent standard would take far more work than just rewriting everything.
hmm
Um, and if that's the case here, then that's fine. I mean, the thing is that we do learn as we do things, right? Like I've talked before about how there are things you can do as you're going that makes life easier for you in the long run. Like, for example, adding in controller support and rebinding of keys right from the very start. And that means
Yeah.
every time you add a feature, you're automatically adding that. And that is so much easier than coming to a game that doesn't have controller support, doesn't have key remapping, and you have to add it in everywhere. That if anything else, if nothing else, is just going to be weeks and weeks of the exact same thing, which is just demoralizing, right?
Yeah.
um, Whereas if you build it from the start, every feature you do a tiny little bit of that work, and it means that the game always has that support. And yeah, the start of it is difficult then because you've got a bunch of different things that you're adding in that you're not seeing anything from, but you know that
hmm
as soon as you start implementing features, you're going to use those, and it's great. And sometimes it's hard to know what those things are as you go on, right? Like when
hmm
I started as a software developer, you go like, oh yeah, yeah, well, obviously we add tests, but like you think of it as like adding tests at the end rather than as you go. And then as you become more experienced, you learn, no, you got to add tests as you go because otherwise you're trying to test things that you wrote 6 months ago. You can't remember it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not how it works. So there's lots of things like that, and the one that the two big ones for software development in my view would be like accessibility, making sure that you put in things like screen reading technologies and stuff like that into it from the start, make sure that everything is fitting the standards that screen readers deal with, and all that as you go rather than trying to go
hmm
back and fix it all at the same time. And the other one that I forgot that was in my head is gone. But anyway, the point is there's things like that. And if you get to the point where you have like a large number of them that you've not done, and you have learned about how to structure your code better, and
Yeah.
all of these things together means that it's too much to deal with and it's overwhelming. Actually, scrapping everything and starting again, when you know what the functionality is to be, rewriting that functionality over again can be easier.
Mm. I wonder, like, because there's been times, when I was first doing specimens, for example, I look back at some of the first things I pinned or mounted or labeled or whatever, and I cringe. Like, they're just awful.
Mm,
But you can't go back and redo that. Or like some of them, I want to redo the labels because the labels I made were huge. They were like a whole 8-point font. Like you need like 4-point font for insect labels. And so they ended up being huge. And I want to go back and remake all of those because I could, but it's like, is it worth that? Or should you just move on with your life, you know?
yeah.
And I guess like that, I'm wondering about that for this because I say she, I don't know. The developers, sounds like they're holding off on releasing it on Switch for now, and then they're going in a completely new so this is what they say, a completely new visual direction, rebuilt character art and animation pipelines, improved systems and gameplay foundations, and a much more polished and scalable structure overall. Like, if it was just something like fixing some back end code, I would
Mhm.
think that would be I mean, I guess the quote unquote "is it worth it" is up to the person to decide. And if the developer does feel like worth it for them to do this entire overhaul, then more power to them. But I'm just like I'm wondering how much time that's going to take, and if it's I guess this is a whole other philosophical question that could be had
Yeah.
about like remaking or revamping games over and over and over again. And like, at what point do you need to not be a perfectionist and just like acknowledge that we grow and we learn and things get better and we move forward with our lives? But I think I think a part of that I might not be considering in this rant here is that I think were the players really upset and disappointed in the game as well.
It had
Like,
mixed reviews,
okay.
so yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that they have to answer, the developer has to answer not only to themselves, but they want to make a better game for the people that supported them, which would make
Yeah.
sense. Again, it's completely up to them. There's just the part of me that when I see something like this, I'm like, but do you need to do that though? Like,
Yeah, that's fair. I guess it's a difficult decision, right? Do you, if a game has not been success, is that not success because the game has fundamental problems that you need to fix, or is it because people just don't want it and redoing it is not going to fix the second problem? Which
or
I don't
like,
know the answer to that, right?
yeah, or like another thing I've been thinking is lately is like, would people give it a second chance? Like, if you were to play a game and be disappointed in how it was, but then you heard that it had an overhaul, like how likely are you to go back and try it again?
Yeah, yeah, especially as it's been nearly 2 years since release. We've talked about this
Yeah.
before. Like, if you miss a game, it's really hard to go back and try it. And if you
Yeah.
try a game and it's not what you hoped, are you going to go back?
Yeah.
Realistically, what, 5 years later? Because, like, it's obviously not going to be done this year. It's obviously not going to be done next year, right? If they're just
Um,
starting it,
my goal is to have the store back online around Memorial Day.
yeah, come on.
Oh, that's their merch store. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not. If
Just
they're
kidding.
if
Just
they're
kidding.
just starting the rewrite now,
Yeah.
and they're not just completely rewriting it, they're changing things as well.
Yeah.
That's gonna be at least 2 years, surely.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a date or anything on that. Let me see
No,
what
because that would
people.
be silly to.
Yeah, you're right.
The only thing a date
Um,
would tell us is that it's not coming out on that date, right? Like, anyway, it's a difficult one, and I understand the want to do that, and also it's a big
mhm.
thing, and who knows whether it will be successful after that. Because this is the thing. I mean, is that the most painful thing if you redo everything and you make it better and it still isn't successful?
Yeah, I guess that is dependent on the developer and what their goal is from this. Is it that they're trying to recapture success that they had envisioned, or is it that they want to be more proud of what was created? Um,
Oh, to have the
yeah,
money, you could do that. Just feel like I want to spend years redoing this, not for financial gain, but because I just want it to be better.
yeah,
I don't think most people could do that.
yeah. Sorry, I'm very philosophical tonight, and I don't, or today, and I'm not entirely sure why, because I'm on another like mental tangent now, but about something else, but it's not related. So we,
Haunted Chocolatier, uh, Concerned Apes doing interviews again and saying things again.
hmm
It's way bigger than Stardew Valley, at least in terms of the amount of maps, the amount of monsters, the depth to the whole item system, and all the equipment slots, and all the stuff like this, he told Game Informer. Everything is cranked up.
hmm
That's a lot then, because like Stardew's not a small game. And then he says that he's now trying to work on Haunted Chocolatier 5 days a week and spending the other two on Stardew Valley. And my question is, does he need an intervention?
When does he sleep, Eric?
You've had success. This is where you get to rest. What are you
Yeah.
doing, man?
Though I am all for the 5 days of Haunted Chocolatier a week because that is get closer to getting my adding it to my successful score, Metacritic score for my
It's not coming out this year.
5 days a week out.
Not coming out this year.
Um, yeah. I mean, if he genuinely, I mean, there are those humans that genuinely just like they don't like downtime. And I can be that way. It's really hard for me to flip between like rest and, because then when I'm quote unquote resting, I'm like thinking about all the things that I want to or should be doing.
Mm.
So he might very well just be that kind of human. Um,
I also, yeah, I do wonder how much of it is to do with like other situational things, right? Like
mhm.
this is not meant to be like oh, parents work harder. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. I just want to put that out there. I do not believe that's the case.
Okay.
But like when you have kids, for example, like you, I rest becomes a valuable commodity. Like even if you
hmm
previously wouldn't have like I before I had kids, I wouldn't really spend days in bed. I don't do that now either, but I want to.
hmm
You know, um, uh,
Yeah.
and there's obviously other different situational things that people have. And yeah, I guess maybe some people just like that. But I worry like 7 days a week working every week.
hmm
That's like don't kill yourself. don't
I
don't
mean, maybe
don't
it's
die.
only a couple hours here, a couple hours there.
That's
Maybe he
possible.
has like
Yeah.
smaller work days, which
Yeah.
is totally valid. But um,
That's very
yeah,
true. That's very true. If I were to work 4 hours a day, would
yeah,
I be happy working 6 days a week? Probably, yeah. Not seven. I still don't want to do seven. I still want a day where I'm not thinking about it. But then he also
yeah,
probably cares about his work.
yeah,
I think that's the difference, right? Between making something you want to make and doing something because someone else wants you to.
yeah.
All right. That's the news.
Oh, woo!
Woo. We are going to talk about The Farmer Was Replaced. Going to start off with giving a quick overview of the game. And
hmm
then I want to ask Cody something specific, which I
Okay.
think will be the most interesting thing about talking about this game. So we're going to start off by this is basically a farming game where you write code to harvest crops.
hmm
That is the simplest way of describing this, and also probably the most full way of describing it. Right? Like there's so many details, and as you progress through, you get even more and more detailed on certain things. But
hmm
ultimately, it is you write code for a drone to harvest crops. That's fundamentally the game.
Yep.
I want to talk. Obviously, we can go into the details, and I've got some stuff that I think it would be good to talk about. But like, I first of all want to, Cody, we are obviously quite different in terms of our programming experience.
Yes.
Um, I am a software developer now of, well, like 15 years, something like that, professionally.
hmm
I obviously coded when I was younger as well because nobody gets into coding having not done it in their spare time because we're a weird type of person. Um, but you're not completely new to programming.
Hmm.
So maybe it's worth detailing your experience as well.
Yeah. So I have had some programming through like GIS. We had to use SQL and SQL and Python for some GIS stuff, which is like a mapping thing that you
Yeah.
can, yeah.
Sorry, I
I
said
had to
yes,
do
like everybody would know. I actually do know what GIS is, but maybe listeners
Yeah, I'm
don't.
wondering. It's one of those things. GIS is so hard to explain. It's graphical or geographical information systems, and it's basically like a map. You make maps, but then you can also put data on those maps and analyze data spatially using those maps.
I mean, what are maps if not data, right?
Correct, but different types of data,
Yes.
and for some things with GIS, you can overlay, especially so say you have the presence of certain and a certain insect. So or like presence absence. So where you found it and where I guess presence not presence is what or sorry, presence and unknown. Like where you did collect it and where you have not collected it, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not there. It just means you haven't collected it. You could then overlay that information with like temperature or trees that are there and that kind of thing. And then you can predict where the species may occur based on the knowledge that you have. And it might predict rain, like other areas that you have not sampled. And then you could go to those areas and see if you found the insect there. And you can update your knowledge with based on that. This is really useful for like hybridization, whatever. We use coding for that in small amounts. I think the biggest coding that I've done was just for statistics. So I use R, and I use it to run statistics for my own data. So I collect data, I put it into an Excel file that I turn into a CSV file, and then I upload that into, and I run code for that. And the code that I do in R is I think more friendly than Python and C++ plus plus and stuff like that to people that might not necessarily be coders on their own.
Yeah, I
It
mean it's
has,
around a specific thing, right? Like whenever you have a
yeah,
programming language that is designed around something specific, it can
yeah,
be more user friendly because there's less it needs to do, right?
yeah. And like you can use, this is probably true for anything, you can use packages that other people have created
Yeah.
that include functions that other people have created that do something that is explainable. So you can just say like, oh, I want to run this function
Mhm.
because I'm going to take this person's package, which in R it's all open source, which is lovely. Take this person's package, run this function to run this model. And there's different parameters you can change and everything. So I do a lot of that. And then I do a lot of visualization as well. So creating graphs from that. So I have some experience with like going in and tweaking code and making code. I think what I've always struggled with is generating code initially, like
Mm.
getting something on the page, which is what this game was.
Yeah. Do you know what the interesting thing about that, Cody, is
Yeah.
that I mean I will never just sit in front of a blank screen and type code. Like that's
Yeah.
not a thing that I do. I
Yeah.
will I will copy and paste something that I've previously done and start from that because it's so much easier.
Correct. That's what I do with when I start a new project, I will just take the code that I had previously
Mhm.
and just basically you can just change
Mhm.
here's your new input file.
Yeah. Yeah, so that,
And
I guess
then
that's my point is that that's not unusual. That's standard for
yeah,
programmers in
but
general.
I think that people who have coded for longer, at least and this could be completely wrong. I think they have more experience and are more comfortable with starting from scratch. Or so I am always working with data that already exist. These are data that I've collected, different categories or continuous variables, et cetera, et cetera. They've already been named. Whereas in sometimes when people code, they make an entire new matrix. And I don't like again, this is also getting I was also being so curious about this because we both have aphantasia
Yeah.
and I struggle so much with matrices and that kind of thing because of my aphantasia. Like the for I and J and for blah blah for I and
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
I in range, for J in range, like that kind of thing. I'm always like, I don't understand what's happening.
Do you know what's really interesting? Because like this is not the order I wanted to do these things, but apparently this is how
Okay.
it's happening. No, no, it's fine. There was actually a point where I had a program running where I I actually modeled out the farm in an array so I could physically see what I was doing. Because I was doing like I have a few different things that I was doing and different strategies I was using, and I've
Uh-huh.
probably gone way too far. And certainly we will have approached this in very different ways, which is what I'm finding going to find interesting about this conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the strategies I was doing was I want a general kind of thing where it's just like I want to build up my stocks of hay and carrots and stuff like that. Because one of the
Hmm.
things that we'll be talking about is the fact that when you plant something, it costs a different thing, right? So to
Hmm.
plant carrots, it costs hay. So you need to keep
Hmm.
your stores of all of the things up. And so sometimes you'll want to do specifics like I'm focusing on pumpkins or I'm focusing on cacti, and I'll explain why you'll want to focus on them. But to do that, you have to have other things. So I had like, here's one which is just like, I'm running low on some things. Let me just run this, and it'll get me some hay. It'll get me some carrots. It'll get me some pumpkins. It'll get me some wood, etc., etc. And
Yeah.
to do that, because I wanted a vague idea of how I wanted to lay this out, I literally just wrote out a 2D array of, I think it was 6 by 6 at that point, right? And just like,
Yeah.
these are the things I want to put in, and then I just iterated over the array
Yeah.
and put things in, and that I just love that because you were like talking about how it's hard to visualize it, and so I literally just I wrote it
You
out.
drew.
I,
Yeah.
I
So
I wrote out the farm and what I wanted to go where, because trying to think of like the trees in particular are important about where you put them, because the trees
yeah.
grow slower if they're next to a tree. So you need to make sure the trees aren't next to each other, but also sometimes you want to optimize for having as many trees as possible. So
Yeah.
I'm the same. I struggle to be like, okay, now what exactly is the modulo that I need to put here to make this comparison work, to mean that I know that the trees are going to be in this slot, but not that one, and that one,
Yeah.
but not that one. So I literally just wrote it. I drew out the array
Yeah.
for the farm. So yeah, that amused me.
Yeah, that is like I was very curious like how we would do that because I also would probably just like grab a pen and paper and be like, okay, here's what I want. But another thing
Yeah.
that's beautiful about this game is that you can just do it. And that's what I love about coding in general is like if I have a graph that I've made, but I'm like, what would it look like if this was purple? You can
Mm.
literally just change it and then run it
Yeah.
again, run
Yeah.
that line of code again, and then it's purple now. And that
Yeah.
was with this, it was like, let me see, like, what if I change so that instead of this growing here, I grow something else here. You can just change that. And then it's very clear when it like breaks. And then I always have two different UIs
Editors.
up, not UIs, but like the
The
code
editors.
thing that you can what sorry, what is it?
The editor. Just
Editor.
like
Yeah.
the text screen where you're typing in the code.
Yes. So I always have two of those, that one that is running and
Yeah.
actively getting me things
Yeah.
while I then just copy paste whatever the current like code I have is into the other one and then I'm like changing it there.
Yeah.
So that if I try and like run the changes and it breaks, I'd be like, okay, I'll just run
Yeah.
the other one again because it was working.
Okay, let's pause here and get into some details about how the game works.
Yeah.
So obviously I talked about the fact that overall it's like, here is a square of X by X. It starts off, I can't remember, was it four, was it 3 by 3 or something?
I think it I think it was 3 by 3, yeah.
Yeah, 3 by 3 grid. And your drone can do stuff on one of those items at a time. And so your
Hmm.
point is, you have a whole bunch of different ways in the code to tell your drone what to do. You can tell it to move, you can tell it to plant, you can tell it to harvest. And then over time, you gain more functions in the code to do other things in so many different ways. So, like for example, this is probably going to get really detailed in terms of like how code works. So
Yeah.
if you have never touched code, you might get a little bit confused about some of it, but hopefully there'll be at least something interesting there. If you are a programmer, then I don't know. We'll see
You'd
how
be like
that.
these children, they only just Cody only just learned how to use for loops. What?
Yeah, thank you for not bundling me into that there, which you almost
No,
did.
yeah, no. Like it, so that's okay. Yeah. Because
No, it's fine.
when
That's fine.
I would run things before, and I will probably continue to do this, I run individual, even if I have like 30 different models I need to run with different like variables, I will just write out 30 models and run them all because then if something breaks, like or if one of them is having an issue, I can figure out exactly which one it is without like
Hmm.
a loop breaking.
Hmm.
But then people that code a lot are like, what are you doing? Like this
Hmm.
is like 1,000 lines of code when it could just be like 50.
Yeah.
I'm like, but anyway,
I think that the
um,
important, I mean, if we're talking about things in real life, right, the important thing is that the code works for you. And right, like
correct.
you're not writing code that's going to go run a banking system. So who cares what it looks like? If it gets
Yeah.
the job done for you, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Um, so the UI is obviously very different from normal farming games. But you have your farm, which is shown as this grid, and you have an editor, which is where you type code. You can actually have multiple editors. We'll get into that, I'm sure.
Hmm.
And then you also have your help screen, which gives you details about how things work.
Hmm.
And then you have your drone and also a piggy bank drone as well.
That
Um,
saves everything.
it's everything you harvest goes into the piggy bank drone.
Hmm.
And the idea is, yeah, you write code in the editor, you click run, and your drone does stuff, assuming you've written code that actually compiles.
Hmm.
And I, the first up, what I think would be interesting to talk about is how did you find? Because obviously, this some of the things in here you will be things you've experienced before, some will be
Hmm.
things you have heard of, and might be things that you've never dealt with. I
Hmm.
wonder, and I don't know the question to this because the answer to this because obviously I am, very experienced software developer.
Yeah.
Has this taught you anything? And if
Oh,
so,
yes.
how well did it do the teaching of that?
I learned a lot and I had actually had to stop because I was getting frustrated with how I was not learning. And so I also context my husband is a coder as well. So he like does a lot of software stuff as well. So he was sitting next to me as I'm like sitting here struggling through for loops and he's like, "Do you want help?" And I'm like, after a while, I was like, "Yes, I actually do want help." And then he'd be like, "Okay, so what if you do this at this?" Or like, what if you have a nested for loop?" And I'm
Mm,
like, "Oh, okay, you can do that." Because I think that was like the first issue that I was having. Instead of just writing like move east, move
mhm.
east, move east, or
Yeah.
move south, and like having to just like make that, creating a for loop so that it just like moves you around,
Hmm.
I think was something that I like wouldn't have realized on my own. I think another thing that really just continues to bug me is the while true.
Hmm.
So I'm not used to code that's just constantly running. I'm
Hmm.
used to code that is static, that I I like change it a little bit and then I run one line
Hmm.
and then it gives me an output and based on that output I run something else. So I'm not used to this like because this is just constantly running.
Yeah.
And I was just like, while true, like, while what is true? My husband was
Mhm.
like, while true. And I'm like, but
While
what is,
while true is true.
but what about when while false? And he's like, it won't be false. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was just like, I don't, I don't get this.
I mean, it's interesting because essentially when you're saying while true, you're essentially saying while yes,
Exactly.
while you're doing things, please. It's like,
Yeah.
but you're just doing things while existence, while
While,
we are alive, while this thing exists, while the computer runs, right? Like it's just
yeah. It's
while
basically
yes,
while you have selected the run
yeah, yeah,
feature
yeah,
on
yeah,
this
exactly.
editor.
While code is running.
Yeah. And I think I really struggled with that. And then I really struggled with for loops. But everything else, like I just had to stop myself from like changing code all the time, like trying or like making things that could have been a for loop, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think so that was weird. But other than that, like once it gets into like the kind of puzzle element of what you're planting and everything, I think that made sense to me. So basically, you can plant different things, and each thing that you plant has different things that it does. So the first thing you have is hay, and it just grows.
Okay.
It grows real fast. And so if you can almost always harvest it because it's like almost always available to be harvested because it grows so fast. Versus the bushes don't grow as fast, so can harvest might not always be true. And so then you'd have to be like, okay, well, what do you plant here? Are you just waiting for it to harvest? Like,
Mhm.
what do you do? And so, and there were some really stupid things that I was like, why is this not like, it's like you break the code for stupid reasons. And I think this
Mhm.
is the classic, like a software developer creates something and is like, it's great. And then the user like breaks it immediately
Yeah.
because the user does something you were not expecting. I had a lot of difficulty moving, like navigating the movement of my drone.
Mhm.
Um, but I basically have that figured out now. And what I currently have, I haven't gotten to the cactuses yet. What I currently have is, gosh, what is this? Two, four, six, eight, 8 by 8. And 2 rows is pumpkins, 2 rows is carrots, 1 row is hay, 2 rows is bushes, and then 1 row is sunflowers.
Mm.
And I have not optimized the sunflowers. I have not optimized like anything because there's different ways that you can optimize things, and I just have not even attempted to do that. I also have not done trees, like you mentioned trees, like that was just starting to get really like I'm not very good at like maximizing the efficiency of these things. Like I'm just like 1 row is going to be trees, or 1 row is going to
Yeah.
be sunflowers. And if so I basically just have it constantly saying like underneath you, if you can harvest it, harvest it. And if how
Yeah.
have I said this? If get position Y equals 1, or so if like basically you're on Y equals 1 or Y equals 2, then you're like what you're going to plant is a bush
Mhm.
versus like
Yeah.
3 is hay or whatever.
Yeah.
And I have like a lot of if else's and if elifs, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know where my brain is at right now.
No, that's fine.
It, like looking at it, I'm just like there's if else if else if else if like it just keeps like going down and down and down, and it depends on like how much wood I have. Like I say, like if I have more than 300 wood, then harvest. Otherwise, like do like make plant bushes instead, basically.
Yeah.
But if I don't, instead of hay, but if I don't have, if I have enough wood, which I currently have 17.2K wood, so I'm fine. Then it'll just keep doing hay. So, yeah, I'm still in like the baby stages of it, and I still definitely have things that I can do to
I
iterate better.
yeah, no, I think it's interesting because I feel, and this is meant to be a positive. This is not
Yeah.
meant to be a negative. I just want to make that clear.
Hmm.
The things that you are learning and that you've succeeded in getting to
Hmm.
was probably about my first 10 minutes in the game, right?
Yes.
Because we have that different experience. And I just
Yes.
think it's really interesting because you're like, oh, you had nested for loops explained to you and like, oh, I didn't realize that was even a thing. And what
That
I
was
did
something that,
is
yeah.
I loaded up the game and I went, oh, right, okay, yeah, this wants me to do a nested for loop because I've got
Yeah.
is a 2D grid, right? Like that's just like an automatic thing in my head at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I just,
I want to post a picture, which
uh-huh.
is of my current setup of things. Ignore the fact that everything is grass. That's just because I cleared it at one point and didn't actually run it. I just want to show you how many different editors and things that I have running. Not actually running, but like things that I can be running.
Okay.
So I've posted it in the thread.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, can you have more than one running at at one time?
Not no. So that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So these are just like I have things set up. So I have one which is I want to I want to get a bunch of carrots. I have one which is I want to focus on pumpkins. I have one which is my cactus one. I have one which is for the maze hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I have one for just general. I want to get a whole bunch. Like I want to re-get hay and wood and stuff like that. Um,
There's
and
mine.
yeah, these are of two very different scales, right? Like my grid is 16 by 16 now.
Yes. And so, but I think that's the beautiful thing is that like
Yeah.
I came into this having some coding knowledge, but not because I've struggled so much with arrays and matrices and whatever whenever I've tried to just do regular coding.
Yeah.
If I can't just say like group like or like filter. So often I'll like filter this column. If this column equals this value, then retain it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like so it's for me that in R that is very or like I guess other Python they have that as well. But having it in this is so amorphous to me that it's really hard for me to visualize. But this game really helps you visualize these things, and it really like allowed me to actually like solidify a lot of these concepts.
Yeah.
And so I'm really enjoying it. And I want to keep playing it. I think I was just getting frustrated with myself because it's like I can tell that there's something or like some way to optimize things in a different way or whatever that I just
Yeah.
haven't like mentally unlocked yet. Um,
Yeah, looking at your code, it's interesting. There's a lot of kind of more, I don't know when necessarily want to say advanced, but like if you think about your coding experience before and how it is
yeah.
now, like there's a lot of things there that are more like would still take me a couple of minutes to be like, oh yeah, of course I need to do this, right? Like there's still not automatic things. It's like
Yeah.
you've got your nested for loop there, but your nested for loop is working automatically in the way that if you then upgrade the size, it's still going to handle that
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um,
That's yeah, instead of having it be like,
hard
oh, for
coded.
go eight
Yeah,
across and
exactly.
then eight down or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, nope, just whatever the world size is. I
Yeah,
just and then for some of them, like the wood one, like if you're on the third row, which is the hay row, if there is enough wood, then just do it or whatever. But
yeah,
otherwise, like we need more wood.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I definitely like have that forward thinking. Like I don't want to have to go back and fix this later type of thing. I will definitely have to, but like I've built that into that like for loop so that I won't have to like mess with, I put 8 and now it's 16. Um,
yeah. What I think would be
but
very interesting for you is actually, and this is just me now telling you to code better. Um,
please.
One of the things that I'm seeing most in this code is there's a lot of duplication that you could probably pull out into functions, right? For
Yes.
example, for every different type here, you're doing if it's grass, harvest the grass, plant the thing I want to plant, and then move. All of that could be pulled out into a function that you just
Yep.
pass through what you want to plant, and then
Yep.
the function does all the things, and all you have to do each of these times is call that function once, and that would like tidy things up a lot. It doesn't change what's happening, it
Right.
just tidies the code up a lot. So if you change what you want to do on grass, right,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a problem where you're missing it in one area, right? So say you decide you
Mm-hmm.
want to, instead of harvesting then planting then moving east, you instead want to harvest then plant then move west. You have to change that now in 5 different places.
Yeah.
Whereas if you abstracted that into a function, you would only have to change it in one place.
Yes.
So it's stuff like that this as you go, if you continue playing,
Yeah.
you will. I don't presume you've not unlocked functions yet.
I think I did right before I like
Okay, you gave up. Yeah,
stopped.
that's that. Yeah, so that for programmers listening, there's a lot of fundamental programming things that you don't have access to at the start,
Yeah.
because you have to unlock it through the skill tree, which we'll get to in a minute. So as you if you keep going, you'll get to
Mm-hmm.
those points, and you'll eventually go and read the functions thing and learn about that, and that will give you the ability to then tidy it up even more and get
Yes.
better
Yeah, I
code.
right before I stopped playing when I like did the big push of playing this, I had just unlocked variables and functions.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which variables I was like, this is great because then I can just change it to bush instead
Yeah.
of entities dot
Yeah.
bush
That fundamentally
or
changes how you're doing things
yes.
massively.
Yes.
That was the point I think where I made my grid, because I was like, yeah, finally I can make my grid and I can refer to different variables and just be like pass them through rather than having to manually type everything.
Yep. So that's when I stopped. But I really love the like code the help documents.
Yes, the
I was
documentation. Yeah,
the documentation. I do this with code with my coding that I do in the real life as well, where the first time I run, and some people, not everyone does this. Like some people will just be like, "Oh, this is the thing that you run to run this statistical test. Cool." And then they just move on with their life. But I try and like actually read a lot of the documentation to see exactly what's happening because there are times
yeah,
when in the documentation it says like, "Oh, and then this variable or this parameter within the model
hmm
means this." And I'm like, "Ooh, I think people are using that wrong."
yeah.
And so I
Wouldn't be
really
the first
dove
time.
correct. I really don't like I like the documentation. The documentation also like hints at a lot of things sometimes. Like I think in one of them, not the for loop, there's something in here where they're like, see if you can figure out how to do this thing. And then it has text that you could that's currently like blocked that you could unhide or you could like
It's
hit
got
show.
hints. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's got those. So like, and I haven't looked at those yet, but if I were truly stumped and felt like I had tried and exhausted every avenue, I could try that. But I think it really helps you to navigate that like learning process.
yeah,
And it's like telling you, oh, you could do this thing. And you're like, whoa, how would I do that? And then you think about what you have access to right now
yeah,
and how that, but I think it also unlocks a lot of things that it doesn't necessarily tell you that it unlocks. So there's the built-in functions
yeah.
that, again, if you don't look at the documentation, you might not know that some of those functions exist like get world size, which is what I use instead of just doing an amount
Yeah.
for I and whatever. Um, and there's some other things like I remember my husband being like, "Oh, have you unlocked like strings?" And I'm like, "No." Oh, my world is bigger. When did that happen? Oh no. Now I have a mega pumpkin currently that is
Nice.
like 4 by 4.
Okay, so let's talk about the unlock tree then because that's we're kind
Yes.
of there. So you start off with very few things you can do and you have to unlock them using different things. So like some things will cost hay, some things will cost wood, some things will cost carrots, etc., etc.
Hmm.
There is money in this game, but not till like late game, so we'll probably not really talk about that.
Hmm.
We might talk about it in a very passing way. But yeah, so for example, you start off just with the grass and the do you have the bushes to start with, or do you have to unlock the bushes? I can't
I
remember right
think
now.
you unlock them.
Are they an
Yeah, you
unlock?
unlock them.
I can have a look at the tree because it's right in front of me.
It's plant bushes.
Oh yes,
So
yes.
at
Okay, so
first you're
so
just
you're
harvesting.
just harvesting the grass because the grass grows automatically on grassland.
Hmm.
Great. And then you unlock the ability to plant things, which gives you the bushes, and then you can also expand the farm. You then unlock different crops, which I want to go through all the crops later on, but that's a thing that we can do.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can also unlock other programming things. So, for example, you can unlock some debug things like printing, which uh, you know programmers will know just shows something on the console. In
Hmm.
this game, it doesn't have a console that it prints things on. Have you done the print?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I love it.
well,
It's
but
fantastic.
you can print. So it basically print it like comes up as like a little chemtrail above you,
Yeah.
but you can print it. You can like force print or something. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but um, it basically pushes it to your command or to like a text editor
Yes.
in on your actual computer, which was interesting, but I didn't want that. Um,
Quick print, that's what they call it.
yes.
And then so there's other debug things as well. Like you can get the ability to like change the world size to smaller if you want to test things and change the running speed and stuff like that. But there's also another branch which is unlocking other like operators and stuff like that. So you can have like more comparisons. You can say if this is equal to this, if this is not this, etc. You can unlock senses, which allows the drone to see what's underneath it. So that's like, if this is a pumpkin, then we do things differently with it, which you'll
Yeah.
understand why when we talk about pumpkins. And then there's obviously variables you just talked about. There's functions, there's lists, there's dictionaries, sets. You can import um, a whole bunch of other things. There's also you can actually unlock things from eventually when you but only if you still have to have the requirements for it. So like I'm sitting
Hmm.
here going, I don't know why anybody would ever do this because you're like you'd have to write out a ridiculous amount of code to be able to like automate everything to the point where you then have enough that it makes sense to write the code to unlock something rather than just going into the tree and clicking on it.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other conversation. And then there's the different crops. There you can unlock the ability to water. You can unlock the ability to fertilize. The interesting one is you can unlock the polyculture, which changes how much things yield based on what's beside them, which can get
Hmm.
quite complicated. Um, you can unlock dinosaur bones. Um, you can also unlock mazes, which is the only way to get money. I
Hmm.
presume you don't have mazes.
Nope.
No,
I don't have cactuses yet, so.
that's fine. Um, and then there's also Mega Farm, which allows you to have multiple drones, which is oh, apparently I can unlock now. Yay! I didn't realize I had enough money for that. Nice. Time to get distracted. So they all do different things, but it's fundamentally about unlocking different ways to program and also different crops to farm is
Hmm.
is basically what they unlock. And what I like about the unlock tree is that it doesn't. It means that not everything is thrown in your face all at once. So for someone like me, it was a bit frustrating not to be able to have variables right at
Yeah.
the start, and it took ages to get variables, and that was a little bit frustrating. But for someone like you, having 10 different things that slowly unlock, so it's like, okay, now
Yeah.
you've gotten used to that, here's another thing you can look at, I would imagine would be quite helpful.
Yeah, I think I there were certain things like variables that I was like looking for.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, maybe variables was not the right example, but like
but like for me,
you
but
you
yeah,
get my
there
point.
it makes it so that it's not too much at once. Like you
Exactly.
control how fast things get unlocked, so you can make sure like, okay, I really understand the
Yeah.
if else situation. So now I feel like I can move on to functions or whatever. And I think that's probably my next hurdle is functions. But like I can see how someone who does this more frequently, you could get a little frustrated. It
Yeah.
would probably feel like going back to elementary stuff because it's like
Oh, for sure.
I know I can just do this. Like
It just won't let me. Yeah.
it just won't let you because you haven't unlocked it yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't admit there was something quite early on. I was like, because I don't write in Python, so like
Hmm.
some of the things I had to relearn because I was just like, how do you do this in Python?
Hmm.
Because I know the concepts but not the exact wording and syntax. And I was like, how do I do this? I can't remember what it was, but how do I do this in Python? And it was like, oh, you do this. And I was like, oh, that doesn't exist because I've not unlocked it yet. Great. It's just that's a whole new concept for a programmer is the idea of like, oh no, you have to work to get your tools. You know?
Yeah.
Um, so that was quite funny. But okay, let's talk the different plants and things
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
So you start off with, as we mentioned, grass. Grass just grows automatically on grasslands,
Hmm.
and you harvest it. And then you get the bushes. The bushes I think they can be planted on grasslands as well as soil, don't
Yes.
they? It's
Yes, they
carrots
can
is
be
the first
planted
thing you
on
have to, yeah.
both.
So you have to plant the bush and then it gives you wood. Great, fantastic, simple.
Hmm.
Then you get carrots. Now, carrots obviously have to be in the soil, so you have to learn about tilling the ground. So you till the ground and you put the soil in it.
Hmm.
And this is where the first kind of interesting thing comes in to me because if you till soil, you get back to grasslands.
Hmm.
So you have to learn very quickly that you have to like be careful. You don't just automatically till before you put a carrot in because it
Yeah.
depends on what the ground was.
Yeah.
So I like how they did that because it's very quickly you have to learn about comparators, which is on the same layer of the tree, so you can unlock it pretty
Hmm.
much at the same time as carrots.
Yeah.
And carrots is just you plant them and then eventually you can harvest them and you get carrots. Carrots cost grass, I think, or do they cost wood?
Uh, they
Is it
cost hay and wood.
the hay and wood? And then you can unlock trees, which are like bushes. So they give you wood, but they give you more wood. But as I mentioned before, you can't, if you grow them next to each other, they take longer to grow. And I think if you have like a tree that's surrounded by trees, I think it takes 64 times as long to grow.
Jeez.
So you really, really can't just do a whole grid of trees because it will take forever to grow. So that's
Hmm.
where you then learn about um, uh, only planting in specific places, right?
Yes.
Because previously you could just go, oh, I'm just going to plant carrots now and just going to everything carrots. But you
Yes.
can't do that for trees. And so you have to think about where you're placing them.
So how do you do that?
You mean if you want like the most efficient thing?
Do you do get position X and get position Y?
Yeah, yeah. So what I
Okay.
would do is if I wanted to maximize the amount of wood that I'm getting in one setting, I would use. Do you know about modulo, right? That's a thing you would be aware of in
No.
maths. No? So it's about the remainder in a division.
Okay.
So if you do uh 10 that's probably too far. If we go 5 modulo 2, 5 divided by 2 would be 2 remainder 1.
Yes.
And the modulo gives you the remainder. So 5
Okay.
modulo 2 gives you 1.
Okay.
4 modulo 2 gives you 0.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that is a really important thing in figuring out trees because that allows you to figure out where you are relative to other trees in a way without having the like being
Mm,
able to check surrounding things, right? So in a tree, for if you're wanting to plant trees in a checkerboard, right?
mm-hmm.
You would do if x modulo 2 is equal to 0 and y modulo 2 is equal to 0, or x modulo 2 equals 1 and y modulo 2 equals 1. And that gives you the if you are on if they're both 0,
Mm-hmm.
then you're on an even square
Yes.
in both directions.
Yes.
So you're either 0 or 2 or 4 or 6 or 8. So that means you're not going to go 0 1. You're going to go 0 0 or 0 2. You're not going to go 0
Mm-hmm.
1. I don't know if I'm explaining this well or not.
No, no, I get it. I was actually I've been thinking like how do I determine if something is even
That there you
versus
go.
odd?
Modulo.
Because that was
Modulo
something
2.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I would love to make it so that every other
Yeah,
uh
because you could do it manually, right? You would go if it's 0 and if x is 0 and y is 0, or if x is 2 and y is 2, or if x is 4 and y is 4. But
yeah.
instead of just doing all those, yeah, you can just do if x modulo 2 is 0 and y modulo 2 is 0, and that gives you all of the even squares.
So I could do that for one row and then do odd for the other row.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly what you're doing. Yeah. So then the odd ones would be x modulo 2 is equal to 1 and y modulo 2 equals 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Although if you're only doing one, if you're just focusing on one row, you obviously just need to do X. Whereas I'm thinking about an entire grid, right? If you're looking at an entire
Yes.
grid, you're comparing X and Y. And so you want even in both directions or odd in both directions.
Yeah. But that's like part of
This
that.
is probably a terrible podcast. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
so that's part of that like optimization thing that I just kind of didn't. I have not tried trees because I was like, oh, that
Yes.
looks cool. I'm not gonna do that
Yeah. Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Like,
And it gets worse from
um,
there.
yeah. So that was one of those things that I was just like, I'm just gonna do bushes and it's gonna be fine. But if you're trying to make number go big, it's not fine.
Yeah. 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 So then you have sunflowers, which I haven't actually done because I couldn't be bothered
Oh, okay.
learning how they work. But I think essentially if you harvest a sunflower, it speeds up your drone, basically. Is that kind of how
Mm-hmm.
it works? Temporarily speeds it up?
Yep, so you get power. So power, it automatically allows your power to move twice as, or sorry, your drone to move twice as fast. Um, and it's just kind of used on like an every second basis or something like that. The thing about sunflowers is if you harvest the sunflower that has the most petals in the row first, you get more power. So it
Ah,
basically
right.
would require you to assess the number, like count the number of petals or per row, and then so you'd have to do like a sweep where you like assess that on the row and then or wherever you have your sunflowers, and then
and then go
harvest
back to
them
it.
from
Yeah.
top down, from
Yeah,
like
yeah.
most to lowest. And I have not done that. I don't care about that. So I just have a row of sunflowers.
Well, this is what I find interesting about this game is you can be like, oh, I want to be the most efficient,
Yeah.
which will come out, which is big in like pumpkins and cactuses, which we'll get into in a
Yes.
minute. But you can also just brute force it and be like, I don't
Yeah.
care, just give me stuff. And if you're running it, you will get lots of stuff, right? It's just that it will
Hmm.
be slower than if you did it in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, like I might have to like let this run for 10 minutes while I go eat food, but I will still get all of the resources I need to unlock things in the unlock tree.
Yeah.
So, though I guess that wouldn't work for everything, I think. I don't know if you can brute because like again, you can't
Yeah,
just convert everything
it might be
to
hard to
sunflowers. Yeah.
yeah, it might be hard to get the, 1 billion cactuses that you need without having some sort of optimization of that.
Yes. Like you can't just be like, okay, well, I'm going to make everything a sunflower because the cost of a sunflower is carrots. So you're going to have to be growing carrots, which means that you have to be growing the hay and the grass and the wood, some wood bearing thing.
Hmm.
But I like it because it makes you kind of like have to be thinking about the entire array and like all of it, but you also kind of don't because it's just running on its own, and then you can focus your attention on like the new thing and just know that the code is going to run because it works. You built it the right way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. So sunflowers is where I stopped. I guess I never tried trees, but sunflowers is where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Um,
So next we have pumpkins. The
mhm,
interesting thing about pumpkins is that they merge to create larger pumpkins, as Cody alluded to earlier in the episode.
mhm. I currently have a four by
And
four.
you get when you harvest a pumpkin, you get the cube number of the dimensions of that pumpkin. So if you have a pumpkin that is one, you get one. If you have a pumpkin that is 2 by 2, you get 8.
Hmm.
If you have one that is 3 by 3, you get 27. So you can see how that very quickly adds up. So
Hmm.
you want to
Hmm.
get the idea with pumpkins is you want to get big pumpkins.
Hmm.
And but pumpkins when they mature have a 20% chance of dying. So you
Hmm.
can't just go, this entire grid is pumpkin, now harvest, because by the time you get to that point, you're not going to have a mega pumpkin because 20% of them are going to be dead. So
Hmm.
you then need to like go back and check if it's dead, and if so, replant it.
Also, I don't think you can, I think if you are above a dead pumpkin and you say can harvest, it's like, I can't, like, this is nothing. I don't
Correct.
think that works. So you have to, it like forces you to do something different.
Yes. Yeah, correct. But if you're above a like if you say for example have a 3 by 3 grid and you're just going to make a big pumpkin, if you got to the top right after you've iterated over everything and it's not a dead pumpkin, it will say you can harvest that as well. So you
Hmm.
have to know whether or not there are dead pumpkins before you harvest.
I just brute force it.
Well, yeah, but it's just going to be the least efficient, right?
Correct.
Whereas I currently have an algorithm going, which is going, it plants all the pumpkins and then it goes back and it
Checks
replants
for
all the
dead
dead
pumpkins.
ones.
Yep.
And then it goes back. And it basically, when it gets to the end pumpkin, it
Hmm.
will. Well, I actually had two versions of it, one of which just always harvested the end pumpkin. And it meant
Hmm.
that sometimes I would be harvesting small pumpkins and sometimes I would be harvesting slightly bigger ones. But
Hmm.
eventually, it would get to a mega pumpkin and it would harvest everything, which
Hmm.
considering mine is 16 by 16 does take a while. But that was one. Another one you can do is like track whether you've had dead pumpkins the last time or not. And if so, then you do another sweep, either
Hmm.
of the entire thing if you want to be lazy, or of the just the specific spots where you had dead pumpkins before. So there's different
Hmm.
strategies of what and in many different layers you can have different efficiencies of
Hmm.
what you want to do, which is what I really like about that, right?
Yeah. And I think that that's something that's really interesting and like is indicative of coders in general is you can have one person who does code one way and then you meet another person who does something like and it's different but also possibly more efficient or less efficient and you can be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do it for like that from now on."
Yeah, I
Um,
think the interesting thing about that is this comes to the one disadvantage that I think this game has, which is that there is a most efficient way to do everything
Okay.
because of how code complexity works. There is going
Mm.
to be a way because of how everything is structured. There is a most efficient way to do everything.
Hmm.
And depending on what that is, those things can be more or less complicated, right? Like the most efficient way to get carrots is just you go iterate over every grid and make a carrot in each one and then harvest them all. Right, that's
Hmm.
the most. Whereas the most efficient thing with a pumpkin is you iterate over and then you go back over and you track where the dead ones were and you go back to only those spots until
Hmm.
you've got to the point. And that's the most efficient way to get pumpkins. And then the cacti, there's a specific most efficient way, but it's like provable as well what the most
Hmm.
efficient
Hmm.
way is
Hmm.
because of how maths works. I
Yeah.
hate it. I'm never going to do the work to figure out that. I'm just going to with programming there are often uh kind of standards that is this is the most efficient way to do something and then you just do it that way, right?
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that with the cactus because this is a perfect example in programming
Okay. I
the
haven't done the
most efficient
cactus
way to
yet,
do
so
things.
tell me about
Okay,
the cactus.
so the cactuses are interesting in that if you harvest them, if the cacti, so the let me start again. So the cacti can be different sizes. I think there's five different sizes. One, two, three, four,
10.
five.
10.
Is it 10?
Cacti come in 10 different sizes.
Goodness me. You can
When
tell how long it is
harvested,
since I did the cacti algorithm. Uh,
yeah.
if if they are ordered on the grid and you select the one side of it, if they are properly ordered, they will all automatically harvest after you harvest the first one. And then, like the pumpkin, you get, I can't remember if it's a cube, I can't remember the exact uh, calculation for how much you get, but you get more if you harvest them in that way, right? So what you want to do is you want to sort the cacti.
Mm.
Now, programmers will be suddenly thinking, oh, sorting algorithms. I know sorting algorithms. But the problem with what you're thinking, programmer, oh, clever programmer, is the only way to sort the cacti is swap two cacti that are next to each other, which immediately takes out the most efficient sorting algorithms in programming, which I hate that they did this, but it's so clever because it's the
Hmm.
complete opposite of what you would normally do with sorting things. So there's a couple of different sorting algorithms that work that way, and they are very simple to explain to things, right? To someone who's new to sorting algorithms. So basically, what the way that these algorithms works is you go from the bottom, you check the size of the current one and the size of the next one.
Hmm.
If the one you're looking at is bigger than the next one, then you swap those two. Right, that's the kind of, and then
Hmm.
you iterate over that, and you keep going until there are no more that are bigger on the left than they are on the right, and then you have it sorted. Now, that is a very simple sorting algorithm, but it's a very inefficient sorting algorithm. And so programmers will not want to do that by default, right? That's what I think is very funny about this, is it's making
Hmm.
you do sorting algorithms that you don't normally do because they're bad.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah. So you have your grid of cacti, you plant them all, and then you have to implement a sorting algorithm, which every programmer has done, mostly in interviews, because realistically, in real life, you just use a library that is the most efficient way of
Yeah.
you don't think about it. You just go, oh well, we'll that's fine. But we've all been there and we've all done it. And so but then you have to think, oh, of course, I have to do a quick sort or a bubble sort or something like that. I have to do one of these annoying algorithms that are just
Hmm.
a very bad algorithm, but they're easy to explain, which I think is very funny. But it does mean that your cacti are very, very slow. So I have, uh, as I said, I have a 16 by 16 grid, and I have a cacti
Editor.
algorithm that will
Yeah.
cover the entire 16 by 16 grid, but it takes like 10 minutes to sort it.
Hmm.
That's how slow it is. But you get a lot of cacti in the end.
Yeah. Well, so in the documentation, it just shows um like a 3 by 3
Yes.
area.
Yep.
Um,
It's probably more sensible to do a
yeah.
smaller one. I just feel like if I'm going to leave my computer doing something anyway, then I may as well leave it doing the big grid.
Because with the 16 by 16, how does that work then? Like, do all of the westernmost ones have to be ones, and then
Mhm.
there's twos, and then there's threes, like blah blah blah?
It depends on how many there are, but essentially, yeah.
Okay.
So it because obviously a one-dimensional sort is much easier than a two-dimensional sort. A
Yeah.
one-dimensional sort is just smallest on the left, biggest on the right.
Yeah.
But with a two-dimensional sort, it's like essentially smallest ones in the bottom left corner, biggest ones in the
Yes.
top right corner. It doesn't automatically mean that everything on the left-hand side is going to be size one,
Mm-hmm.
but it means like they kind of go in a diagonal pattern, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was only one, it would be in the bottom left corner. If there are three, it would be in the bottom left corner, and then one up from that and one right from that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So diagonally sorted,
I
which does complicate the algorithm quite a bit, but
Yeah,
it's the same concept.
thinking about you creating one for a 16 by 16 is horrifying.
It's the same logic. It works for any grid size,
Yeah. But
but
like
you
that, just
can.
thinking about your poor drone
let,
looking
let me run. Shall I
and
run? Shall I run one while we're talking? Because I was just doing pumpkins, but let me do a cactus. It's so painful to
your
watch it,
poor
right?
because your poor drone is like, is this one bigger than that one? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll swap it. Is
and
this okay? This one's fine. This one's fine.
it
And it
has
just
to
has to
go
like,
over the grid like so many times, like what 10, 20 times, something like that.
can you
And
not
of
like
course, it's a
tell
16
it?
by 16 grid, so of course it takes ages to go through one single
Yeah.
pass.
Can you tell
It's
it
so
not
funny.
to like worry about like can you make it so that the leftmost is finished and then you don't have to go to the leftmost anymore?
Yes, that's pretty much how the algorithm works. Yeah,
Okay.
it
Like
knows
okay, you
when
don't have to
it
do
knows
this
when it's
anymore.
sorted a row. Yeah,
Okay.
but like
Oh,
that
a
takes a
row,
long
not a
time though.
column.
Well, both,
Okay.
but
But they
that takes a
grow
long time.
randomly.
Yeah,
Like you can't the one could be all the way on the right.
correct.
Woof. And then it says that they're brown if they're not in the right order and they're green when they are.
Yes,
Okay. So if you can
which is very
figure,
visually pleasing to watch.
yes, I think like
So
that would be
It's
something.
now finished planting all the cacti. So I'm now watching it, swapping them all.
Okay. Um, See, if you had sunflowers, that would go so fast.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't get as many cacti in one go.
But if you had a stockpile of power, it
Yeah,
would just
sure.
double the amount of
I've
time
just
it would.
not done anything with sunflowers yet because I wasn't in the right headspace to learn a new plant yet.
Yeah, that's where I hit once I unlocked functions and variables and I saw that cactus was the next thing. I was like, and I think that's probably the downfall of this game is it is a game, but it is also not a game.
Yeah.
It is pleasing, it is not relaxing.
Yes.
I'm sure for some people it would be relaxing, but
No.
for me it is very like I have to stay focused and trying it's like a puzzle to solve that I get frustrated with. Do you have a row done yet?
No. Oh no. 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 Yeah. No. Yeah.
That sweet baby angel, that poor drone.
Oh, I
While
think the bottom row. Oh no, it's there's still two out of order in the bottom row.
okay.
But the problem is because it's doing the entire grid every time, right? So it has to go all the way down to the bottom before it then sorts
So
things
if you
once.
have 16, is it, do you have any that are nine?
Nine what
Like nine cactus,
size?
size?
Probably yeah. But
Okay.
I'm not. Let's have a look because you
You
hover
just
over.
hover over it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that one's nine. Yeah. There's a few nines.
Okay.
So is it 0 to 9 then? Is that the sizing, or is it one
I
to?
think it's one to,
No, it's zero. Yeah, it's 0 to 9.
okay.
I don't know what a cactus of size 0 would actually be in real life. That definitely
Yeah.
doesn't look size 0.
It is always one of these numbers, 0 through 9, and you can measure it. So yeah, I mean, measuring it is very similar to I think the sunflowers would be easier,
Yes, they're the same sort of concept though. Like you're
where you
checking the
measure it
size
and
and
then,
then you're
but then
sort. Yeah,
you don't have to,
you don't
you don't have,
sort them, but yeah,
no.
you have to go through and sort harvest the biggest one, and then so you're tracking which one is biggest, and then going back to that one and
Yes.
harvesting it, and then doing the same thing again. So it's a similar sort of concept, but obviously more. Right. This is the
Yeah.
thing about all of these is they're getting more and more complex as you upgrade and unlock more things. Um,
I like the visual that it gives though, that like because it does make some pretty abstract concepts
mhm.
accessible because of the visual array.
Yeah. We have 5 sorted rows now.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
next ones are going to take a long time, though.
Womp womp.
Um,
We have neglected to talk about the coolest part, which is the hats.
oh yes, yes. Your drone wears a hat, and you can get different hats. What hat are you wearing just now?
The farmer hat.
What was that when you? Is that brown hat? Is that what that one's called, or is
Uh,
it called something different?
I don't know if I can like look at.
Do you not just? Did you not just set it in the code?
Oh, I mean, it's gone. I did it forever ago.
I have it. I actually have it set every run because I at the beginning of all my code, I just have a while loop that waits until the grass is able to harvest the first time, and because you there is no op in the game as far as I'm aware, I just have it setting the hat. So I just have that as my essential no op, right? Because it's
Yeah.
just while this isn't ready to harvest, put the hat that you currently have on. This is essentially a no op, right?
Okay.
So that's why I have the brown hat. But I have so
Okay.
many that I could use now because I've got cactus, carrot, dinosaur, gold,
I'm wondering, how do
pumpkin,
you see
purple,
which ones
traffic
you
cone.
have?
So see if you type in change underscore hat brackets hats
Yeah.
dot, it'll come up with an auto completion that lists all the ones you currently have access
Oh.
to.
Okay, let me pull up my other editor. Eh. Change. I also like that it will like start automatically filling it in for you. Okay.
Yes, the code completion
Brown
is nice.
carrot.
It's a pretty nice IDE, but still quite simple in some ways. The other thing I guess to talk about is you can technically use any editor. You can integrate it into any editor. So if you're a person who likes to edit in a specific IDE, you can do that and then just import things in, which is fun.
The purple
Um,
hat is not very purple.
oh, sad. But and this, I'm not suggesting people do this, but what I was really interested in, just as a theoretical thing, is how well uh something like Claude or GitHub Copilot would do it, doing something here. I haven't done anything with that because it feels completely unnecessary for what this is. I just think
Yeah.
it's a fun idea. Like, how well would an AI do at writing code for this?
Yeah. I'm messing with my hats in another editor now. I thought that I had changed my hat, but I guess I just had the basic hat because it was just the straw hat,
hmm
which was the first hat you're ever given, I think.
Oh, straw hat then, right? Okay. I had brown hat, but that's just because I haven't upgraded it to
The
one of the
brown
other
hat
ones.
looks like a cowboy hat.
Yeah. There's a few other things that we could talk about. We could talk about watering, which is kind of like you get water as time goes on, and then you can use water and it speeds up the growing. There's fertilizer, which is almost the same in that you get fertilizer over time and then you use it and it speeds up the growing. But this is where things get complicated. If you fertilize something, it becomes, oh, what was the word it used? Let me double check the wording. Fertilizer. Your It becomes infected. If a plant is infected, half of its yield is turned
Mm-hmm.
into weird substance when it's harvested.
Yep.
Weird Weird substance can also be used on plants, which has the effect of toggling the infected status of the plant and all adjacent plants. So if you call use items.weird substance on an infected plant, it will cure it. But if you use it on a healthy plant, it will infect it. If you use it on an infected plant that has healthy neighbors, it will cure the plant but infect the neighbors and vice versa. And I initially went, this is way too complicated. I don't see any advantages. Oh, there we go. It just finished. It finished the sorting and harvested.
Yay.
Um, I don't see any real upside to this. I'm just not going to not bother using fertilizer. And so I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just not going to bother doing it until I realized that you need weird substance to unlock mazes. And so I then started using the fertilizer just to get the weird substance.
Yeah.
um, mazes are, if you use weird substance on a bush, it will create a maze, and then you have pathfinding algorithm you have to implement to get treasure in the middle or somewhere in the maze. Again, there's like a standard pathfinding algorithm you can use that is not the most efficient, but will get the job done all the time, which is just what I did in that situation because that's fine. That's the only way to get money is the
Mm-hmm.
mazes. You get money in the middle of in somewhere in the maze. Uh, I don't think we need to talk about any more of the details. I feel like we're getting into the depths of specifics, unless there's anything else you want to call out.
Uh, no, I think that's pretty much it.
The one other thing I
Yeah,
want to talk about then is on the website for the Farmers Replace, they actually have a bunch of exact code examples. If you get really stuck with something, they have
yeah,
more than what's in the hints. So they have like, here is a sorting algorithm for cacti, for example. They have
yeah,
that on there, which I just think is fun because it's like, obviously the point, this has clearly been written to try and get people into coding. And so they encourage you to do as much as you can, but then they also give you possible answers if you wanted to be able to do that, which I think is just nice.
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to make it. Trying to figure out how to like, because I just upgraded. I'm now this at the 16 by 16,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
trying to figure out like, because my if you're in this Y in this row does not really work anymore for a lot of the stuff because it's like, oh, if you're above row 6, then you just do all of it. And so then I have a lot of pumpkins on top, and that's not what I'm wanting.
Uh,
So I'm trying to say like if it's between 4 through 12, do
mhm.
a carrot. But I can't
Yeah.
figure, I'm like trying to figure that out right now.
Uh, so you can do and in the if statement. So if greater than three and
Less than.
less than
Okay, cool.
eight or whatever, I can't remember the exact numbers you used, but yeah. So the and keyword is your friend there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Let me check if it's
Uh,
is it in the
mm,
operators?
that is not a valid expression. Oh, I
It is in
probably
the
have to
operators.
say
You have to say
that it
so like
was.
y if y greater than three and y less than
Okay.
four or whatever, rather than I know those are stupid. Those contradict each other. That's not the point. So you can't just put and less than. You have to put and y less than number
Mm-hmm.
as well. So,
12,
but yeah, if you
11.
want examples of it, you can look in the operators documentation. There's some stuff in there around the and or.
Yep. I was trying to figure that out because I do that in R when I'm filtering things. I'm like,
Right.
you use the anyway. Figure that out though. No, I am not sure how entertaining this is as a
Yeah.
podcast for people. But like I think the takeaway is that you can definitely, even if you know how to use code, because like I wasn't a novice to coding, you do learn things. There
Mhm.
is knowledge to be gained here. There and like I'm still aware of the fact that I could improve the code that I have. And if that's something like if I, now that I have the 16 by 16, if I was like, man, I don't really want to do cactuses yet, I'm going to improve my pumpkin thing, then I can just like do that instead, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
I agree.
So,
I think if you have any interest in programming and or farming games, I think this is a fun game to play. Um, I wouldn't expect that anybody would spend like hours and hours and hours and hours in it
hmm.
unless you're brand new and you really want to get really good at programming. And this, for some reason, is the one thing that gets you into it. Um,
I think that it could help. In my jobless state, if you need your bugs identified, hire me. I was thinking about how I could like do data science, like biological data science or something. And that's something that I could get that I could then move around and like do remotely. So if we do end up going somewhere else, or it's something I could do like on the side, but then also do bugs. Like I'm not going to get rid of bugs, but if bugs currently cannot pay me for a while, it
bugs
would
don't have
be
money.
something they don't have money, and the universe, well, the current leaders of the world do not value bugs. So, like this is something that I could do, like the coding. So if it's something that you're interested in and you struggle with the visualization like I do, this will at least get you to understand the concepts in a way that might be more approachable to you, because it
Mhm.
definitely is for me.
Yeah, agreed. All right. I think we're done then. Thank you, Cody, for joining me for this fun programming podcast, apparently.
I'm trying to think of uh cottage program cottage game. I don't know.
Is there anything you would like to tell the audience that isn't a pun that accidentally turns into a word you don't want to say?
Oh, what would um Mm, stay in school? I don't know. No, just if you are interested in learning about bugs or something, hit me up. If you are reading more books lately, hit me up. I'm currently reading Yesteryear, which is about the trad wife that gets sent back to the 1850s.
Oh,
Very interesting, though there's a twist, I guess, and I'm about to get to the twist. So excited about that. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of available at this point. I mean, I'm writing, but oh, one thing I will tell the kids out there, if your ADHD stimulant is not working, get a different one because my goodness. I went from like I would hyperfixate on a game and it was more just out of boredom. Like I was bored and I didn't want to work and I would just keep procrastinating. But I like there's that like I do want to work, but I have executively my brain is like and so I would just like get sucked into like a game or something else and then suddenly it would be like the afternoon. Now I can only do something for like a half an hour before I'm like, I should probably get some work done. And
hmm.
it's working with writing too, which is lovely because I hate writing. Um, so yeah, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Cool. All right. You can find the podcast on Tumblr and on Twitter. No, on Tumblr and on Blue Sky at THS Pod.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
can send us feedback from our website, harvestseason.club. Tell us what is your favorite.
Programming language.
Well, I was going to say programming operation,
Oh,
like make it weirder, not programming language. Nobody actually has a favorite programming language. They have a least unfavorite one.
I don't know. Jeff had some fun ones he was learning.
Yeah, he's just not
Um,
used to them yet. He'll hate them soon enough.
well, he was learning them for fun,
Yeah, he'll hate them
like
soon
on his
enough.
own.
Every programming language is terrible in its own special way.
Mhm, mhm. Valid.
You can also find on our website all our links to everything to do with the podcast, including our link to our Patreon, patreon.com/thspod, where you can support the podcast, get access to our bonus episodes of the podcast, and get access to our Slack, where you can see some sneak peeks for things. And what have we been talking about? Oh, just people enjoying that I was happy about Little Rocket Lab.
Mm,
That's this
hmm.
week's chat.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry. I
no,
am
that's fine.
not
I
sure
think
why this isn't growing carrots.
Okay, that's everything. Thank you, Cody, again for joining me.
I figured it out. Thank you, Al, for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. And until next time, have a
Have a
good
good harvest.
harvest.
Woo.
The Harvest Season is created by Al McKinley with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode.
Wait, did we do the introduction?
To what? The
Did I
podcast?
say my name is Cody
Yes,
and we're here today to talk about cottagecore games?
correct.
And I said, "Oh woo."
Correct.
The farmer was replaced.